Greetings everyone, this is David, and today's video is going to be about the recent controversy surrounding the Finnish Prime Minister, and as a result, kind of the loss of sanctity of a nation and its ruler. It's not being respected, and the Western civilization, this is just one of the many symptoms of the failure of Western civilization today. For those who don't know what happened, this picture is a good illustration. The Finnish Prime Minister, a lot of people have been discussing about this. The Finnish Prime Minister is just going out to parties, getting drunk publicly, and just making a mockery of herself and of her nation. To kind of these events, the Prime Minister made a rhetorical, asked a rhetorical question, which is, does a Prime Minister have a right to party? Now, this is overall just a really bad argument, which is to be expected by a public official. But this is not a bad argument because a Prime Minister has the right to do a lot of different things. But that doesn't mean that those things are good moral things to do. The question isn't that, does she have the right to do it? The question is, should a Prime Minister do this? Should a Prime Minister do something that is severely disrespectful to herself or himself or to her country? Because we need to consider this one very basic principle. A leader, whether they're a prime minister or a king or whatever, is a representation of their country. When you're in public as a prime minister of a country, you are representing your country. So when the representative of your country goes out to a nightclub, gets drunk, and acts like a little kid, again, as shown by many images that you can find online, that just goes to show what they are representing their country as. They're representing their country as a joke. And many countries in the West today are fine with their leaders representing their country as a complete joke. Now, here's the bigger problem with this particular issue. This is not where the things end, okay? We can talk about the debauchery and how there's a hypocrisy in terms of, people talk about past debaucheries and make a big deal out of it, but when we have present debaucheries by the people they support and they like, there's no problem for them anymore, right? But there's also a video of her cheating on her husband. As you can see, this man that is snuggling on her neck, right, and dancing intimately, that man is not her husband. Okay, that is not her husband. Which gets to our basic point, which I don't even think I should be explaining this, but this gets to a basic point on why a prime minister or a king or a ruler of a country should not be going to nightclubs. Okay, because again, this woman is married, she has a kid, and she's dancing with another man. In fact, there's eyewitnesses saying that that's not the only man that she danced with. She's very obviously drunk in that video. There's people that say that, for example, she was sitting on other men's lap. I mean, imagine that kind of stuff. But, even if none of that happened, right? So even if none of that happened, why is it such a big deal for public officials to go to nightclubs? Why are you making a big deal out of it? And I kind of want to end this video with just kind of like an example of things like this, things people do in common that really shouldn't be done by people that represent their country. And, when you go to a nightclub, do you go to a nightclub to dance like this, right? To go there and act like, oh, I'm a woman, I'm power, I'm gonna dance like crazy guy. Is that fun, right? People don't go to nightclubs to dance like a crazy ape. Okay, that's not the fun part of it. The point of a nightclub is to meet new people. That's the nicest way I can say it. Is to basically meet interesting new people, but more correctly is to meet new potential romantic partners. That's the reason why people go to nightclubs. Okay, if you try to hit on a girl on daytime, everyone's gonna look at you weird because that's a strange thing to do in most societies today. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's not the topic of this video. Just trying to show that that's seen as abnormal. When you do it in a nightclub, that's where you're supposed to do it, right? That's where you're supposed to do something like that. And the fact that she's going to nightclubs all alone without her husband just goes to show another thing about how she represents her country. If you are dating someone, if you're married with someone, you should not be going to places like a nightclub. All right. And let me give you an example why that's the case. Again, the purpose of a nightclub is to meet new people. You are going to get hit on in a nightclub. You're going to get situations like that. I don't even think I need to explain this to most of my viewers. But Some people are gonna say, "Oh, why? Well, that's so bigoted of you," etc., etc. So I want to give you kind of like a scenario and analogy to kind of make my point here. Let's say that you're trying to buy a house and you go to a bad neighborhood. Okay, you can talk about how you're gonna get the best security for your house so that it doesn't get robbed. You're still not going to move to that house because you know it's in a bad neighborhood and you think that there's going to be someone that's going to probably try to rob you, right? Probably going to try to enter your house. Or let's talk about, you're driving your car, you're trying to park somewhere, and you get into a bad neighborhood. Are you going to park your car in a bad neighborhood where you know someone's going to try to steal your car or someone's going to actually do something bad to your car? You're not going to think, I have bulletproof windows. I'm going to leave my car here. I'm fine. I'm safe. No, you're going to go park somewhere else. Likewise, you're not going to send your partner, you're not going to send your wife, okay, or your husband to go to a place where that kind of stuff, where that kind of robbery is expected, okay? And that just goes to show the complete disrespect she has for her husband, which again goes to show, represents the country, because it goes to show that the representative of the country cannot even maintain a relationship for more than 4 years, okay? For more than, 4 years without cheating, without ending up, cheating on her husband by doing this really stupid thing. So, what is the point of this video? What is the lesson that we're supposed to get? And the lesson that we're supposed to get is that this has been completely normalized, okay? You will notice that, aside from a couple of people in Finland, they don't care about this fundamentally. They're going to be like, okay, whatever. People in Europe, people in America, they're going to look at this and like, this is not that big of a deal, okay? People are going to watch this video. They're going to watch me talking about this kind of stuff. And they're going to say to themselves, David is mad about this. Like, why does he care so much? He's not even Finnish, right? That's what they're going to say. And here is the main point. Here's the main lesson. And the reason why this is a horrible thing, and this should not be normalized. We should not be seeing more of this, but unfortunately, we probably are going to see more of this. Remember the previous principle that I talked about. A leader is a representation of their country. Remember, you get the rulers that you deserve. When your ruler is a drunkard, or when your ruler is debauched, or whatever else, and it's public, that doesn't speak just for that individual alone. That represents your country. That is your country now. Especially if you don't do anything about it. That is your country. And the thing about things that happen in politics, and things that, refer to what happens to rulers, what happens to countries, is that they take time to actualize fully in their effects. Finland is not going to become destroyed tomorrow. Okay, that's not going to happen because of this. But these things do take time. And when other events in other countries like this happen regularly, and I believe actually this did happen. This was kind of one of the warning signs before the Second World War and even the First World War. Again, remember Germany, remember Romania, right prior to the Second World War. Its rulers and its entire system was completely debauched. It was full of degeneracy. And, we can even talk about different kinds of countries and what was going on there. These things take time to actualize. But when multiple different countries end up having these kinds of occurrences regularly and people do not see a problem with it, eventually it will actualize. And when it does happen, we're going to be looking at a rough couple of years at the very least because of this kind of stuff. Because a leader really, even if it's meaningless, even if it's just honorary, due to the hierarchical nature of man, a leader is the cornerstone of a country. And what they do and what they say really does matter a lot. And that's something to bear in mind for this video. So, thank you for watching this. If you like this, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Give your comments. What do you think about this? And I will see all of you in the next video. Shout out to my Patreon financiers. If you want to be one of them, check the link in the description below. Their names will be in the description below as well. I'll see all of you in the next video. Thank you and see you. Goodbye.